Okay, here are some of the containers I use when I go out on the canoe. Um, in the center is going to be my favorite. It's going to be a 13-gallon pickle barrel style barrel. It's going to be originally used to carry chlorine tablets for pools, I believe. Not entirely sure, but it did have to be watertight and airtight. So it does provide a good waterproof barrier for when if it were to go into the water. It protects my gear very well. And I can fit a lot of gear in there. I can actually fit a 10-inch Dutch oven in there and it'll carry it just fine. Next to it is going to be a 5-gallon bucket with a Gama Seal Lid. That also works extremely well. It doesn't carry as much gear. Both, once you get to the campsite, can be used as a little stool or a chair or what have you. So they serve double purpose. If you put food in either one of them, there's very few animals that are going to be able to get into it from this area at least. And if you want to do a bear bag situation, both of them have handles you can hang them by. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today's project is going to be manufacturing a cooler out of what I've got sitting in front of you. I have another 5-gallon bucket here that I've removed the ridges from, and that's so it will fit inside of the 13-gallon bucket. I've got another Gama Seal Lid, and once I put that into this bucket, I'll place this Gama Seal Lid on the 5-gallon bucket. This will be my inner container, and this will be my outer container, and I'll fill the voids with polyurethane foam. That's going to be some composite expanding polyurethane foam that is going to have an R value of 7 per inch. So I'm hoping to make a 5-day cooler out of a 5-gallon bucket. We'll see how this works out. Okay, the weather outside is getting a little rough, so the wind was picking up too much. Came inside to the old gun shop to actually finish this out. Now you can see here I've actually got the 5-gallon bucket inserted, and the Gama Seal ring is installed on the 5-gallon bucket, and I've got it glued in place with a hot glue to seal it all the way around. Now initially my plan was to pour in between the space between the 5-gallon bucket and the rim of the 13-gallon bucket. However, there wasn't really enough room to work with. Instead, I opted to drill a few holes down at the bottom here, and that's going to allow me to pour and have plenty of room for expansion, and then I'll seal those back up with the blanks that I kept and with the strongest marine epoxy that I can find. Okay, this is the urethane foam that I've selected for the installation of this cooler. It's going to be a 2-part kit. You mix it together in equal parts and it will expand and fill the void that you're actually trying to fill. It's a 2-pound density foam, which means the finished product will be 2 pounds per cubic foot. I've got about a cubic foot to fill, and this will do 2 cubic feet. So I'll only be using about half of what's here. I'd have enough left over to do another cooler if I needed to. So I'm going to try to avoid having to go down that road. U.S. Composites actually sells this in greater densities, all the way up to 16 pounds for different types of projects. But this is going to provide the best R value per inch of the rest of the foam densities. So this is the one I'm going to go with. Now, I'm going to do this in a 2-part pour. I'm going to pour the first part, 1 cup per part, and that's going to get me halfway there. I don't want to do it too aggressively because this stuff will expand 25 times its normal volume and has been known to split out pontoons. So I don't want to ruin the cooler I'm trying to work on, so I'm going to take it a little bit at a time. Let's take a look at this. All right, let's look into our results here. You see the foam is ready. It's been set. And if we look at the side of the container here, we can see a line right about there where it's gotten to. Looks about halfway full, but I don't know that another cup is going to go all the way. All right, we're going to go with our second pour. The filming on the first pour didn't go off, but yeah, let's go ahead and do this one, and maybe that'll work out a little bit better. Okay, we're going to go for 1 cup of part A. All right, that's 1 cup of part A. Set that over the side. Make sure we put our lid back on. All right, now let's get 1 cup of part B. All right, that's 8 ounces, 1 cup. Put the lid back on this one, put it aside. All right, get ready on the timer. We're gonna mix for 25 seconds and then pour. All right, time.
5 seconds.
Okay. Mixing this up to a milky consistency.
15 seconds. 20 seconds. 25 seconds.
Okay, 25. Time to pour. Okay, we're going to pull this in and whoop. Keep counting the seconds for me.
30 or
Oh.
40.
Made a little bit of a mess on this
seconds.
pour.
50 seconds.
All right.
55 seconds.
Take a look here.
60 seconds or 1 minute.
Get our rag and
Just stop.
keep it going.
Okay.
Let's clean that off.
1 minute 10. 1 minute 20. 1 minute 30.
All right, we'll be back here in a little bit. All right, it did take a little bit more than I expected, but this last fill did overdo it by a little bit. I've got a mess that I'm going to have to clean up. But, you know, I'm satisfied with the progress so far. I'll be back with you after this is all cleaned up. Okay, I finished cleaning off the excess foam, the overfill, and I pushed it a little bit too far this time. I did bulge out the bottom. The material is a lot more resilient than I thought it was going to be as well. Did I hollow that out just a little bit and get those plugs replaced with some marine epoxy so it's nice and waterproof. The foam itself is supposed to be 98% waterproof, so it would survive like this. I just want to make sure all the bases are covered. Now, if you look down in here, this is also bulged out. I'm not too worried about that, though. So long as the Gama Seal ring and the outside ring are still round, we're still in business. But you can see, it wobbles. I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that. Okay, we're starting the test. I've got the holes on the Gama Seal lid covered with some insulation to fill up the gaps. Eventually that's going to be glued into place, but for the test it's going to sit just like that. I've got 2 discs, and these are cut out of some sleeping pads, closed cell sleeping pads that I don't use anymore. Matter of fact, I don't know that this one had ever been used. On top of that, I will seal the airtight ring. And one more layer of insulation before I close it up. All right, we're going to come back and we're going to check on that in 12 hours and see how that's going to go. And hopefully we'll check on it again in, I'm sorry, not 12 hours, but in 24 hours. Every 24 hours we're going to come take a look at it, see how it's doing. All right, there we go.